Hi, happy Monday.
Yay, the Mondays.
Woohoo.
We're gearing up for the LGBTQ Democratic Caucus this week.
Oh, I do have an email about that.
Are we going to win 22?
Oh, God.
I'm a little scared.
A lot of work to do.
August, first Monday of August. If we don't, I'm going to, you know who I'm going to blame? I'm going to blame Orlando.
I think that's the route to go. Yeah. When in doubt, blame Orlando.
And my secondary blame is going to be lesbian.
Steve?
Lesbian women.
Oh, Faye.
Lesbian
Women.
You're terrible,
And
Muriel.
then I'm going to say the film festival didn't do enough for us to win.
Oh, my God.
gonna
Then
be
that's
very-
you, Dino. A lot of blame. A lot of blame.
Lots of blame. Nothing to do with me.
Ever.
Well, welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening news. It's time to queer up the news. First, we queer up breaking queer news. This is not really gay, but we really liked it at Queer News Tonight. The world cheers as high jumpers ask, "Can we both get gold medals?" Two Olympic high jumpers gave gold-worthy performances at the Tokyo Olympics on Sunday, and they decided they both deserved the medal. Qatar's Mutaz Essa Barsham and Italy's Gianmarco Tamberi both had high jumps of 2.37 meters. They each attempted to beat that and clear 2.39 meters and failed on their first try. They could have gone into a jump-off, each taking turns until they beat the score. But instead, Barsham asked if they could share the gold medal, to which Tamberi agreed. Tambari was almost unable to compete after an ankle injury in 2016, and Barsham won the bronze in both 2012 and 2016, making this an emotional win for each of the athletes. And we want to show it to you. Watch this.
May indeed.
Yeah, I think we're going to go
we
again.
are.
Wait. Yes. Good time. We can continue with the jump off.
Can we have two gold?
It's possible. It depends if you decide. If you both decide on.
Well, it's 8 p.m. Monday, August 2nd. We're right in the middle of the Olympics now, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. Literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited, live, LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, you will see it. Queer News Tonight is supported by viewers like you. We are part of the Happening Out television network, Hotspots Magazine, and WeMeg Events. Hotspots is celebrating 35 years of the LGBTQ plus experience. Merged, we bring you the best of LGBTQ plus news, entertainment, and support of our LGBTQ plus community.
This evening, we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet. I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson. Let's welcome anchor Faye What? She's a radio and television personality and has the popular blog and YouTube channel aiming to unite the L and the G together. She's a hostess and MC for many South Florida events, an animal advocate, and owner of Faye's Fur Family, and is the anchor of the travel news show Happening Out Travel. Also, make sure to catch The Faye What Show Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Good evening, Faye.
Good evening, everybody. Get vaccinated, people. All right. Let's welcome anchor Orlando Gonzales. He is executive director for SAVE, recognized as South Florida's longest-serving organization dedicated to protecting people who are LGBTQ+ against discrimination. He also served on the board of trustees of the Point Foundation. Good evening, Orlando.
Good evening, Faye. I'm going to double down on get vaccinated. And we welcome Dino Mosquera. He joined the Miami Gay and Lesbian Film Festival in the late 90s and now serves on the Outshine Film Festival's board of directors. He's the screening committee chairman, selecting films for one of America's most important LGBTQ film festivals. Good evening, Dino.
Good evening, guys. Let's welcome anchor Steve Rothaus. He's a pioneering journalist that covered LGBTQ issues at the Miami Herald for more than 2 decades, beginning in 1985 and came out at work 2 years later. He served as a national board member of NLGJA, the Association of LGBT Journalists, and founded the association's newsroom outreach project, visiting newspapers, television stations, and colleges to discuss LGBTQ+ news coverage and workplace issues. He is a GLAAD Media Award for Outstanding Newspaper Columnist and known as an LGBT pioneer in mainstream journalism, according to Columbia Journalism Review. Good evening, Steve.
Thanks, Dino. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ+ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Monday, August 2nd.
Let's begin by queering up business. A new study confirms gay and bisexual men earn less than straight men. A new study has confirmed that gay and bisexual men earn less money than their heterosexual male peers. Researchers from Anglia Ruskin University found that gay men earn 6.8% less than straight men on average, while the disparity for bisexual men is even higher at 10.3%. The study, published in the Journal of Population Economics, analyzed salaries in Australia, Europe, and North America between 2012 and 20. However, while gay and bisexual men earn less than heterosexual men, lesbian and bisexual women experience pay disparities in different ways. Lesbian women earn, on average, 7.1% more than their heterosexual counterparts, while bisexual women earn 5.1% less than straight women, researchers found. They attributed this to a stereotype of lesbian women as being viewed as more masculine by employers.
You know, since the beginning of time, we always heard that women were making 75 cents on the dollar to men, right? So this study is quite interesting, that little twist and the lesbian part of it, you know, as the honorary lesbian with my little lesbian button that I've got going on today. You know, it's interesting. I would think because a lesbian woman has the masculinity, but has like the heart of the woman. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's important to call out what's obvious here, which is that gay men and bisexual men are experiencing discrimination, right? Plain and simple. And the second thing is, I think that there's something to learn from lesbian women. They're advocating for themselves and they're making sure that they earn what they deserve.
Their voices are stronger, is what you're saying.
I don't think it's a matter of being stronger or weaker. I think that they're doing the right thing.
I want to know if in the study, all these people that they call gay, lesbians are out at work. I don't know. It doesn't say if, you know, if they are out at work. That will be interesting to know, because you could advocate for yourself, you know, if you're out.
Yeah,
Yes,
many
and-
people don't work at gay-friendly organizations or companies.
And by being in the closet, you also project differently than somebody who's out. So if you're in the closet and you seem to be fearful of having your sexual orientation public, that perhaps you get treated with, you know, less respect just for that.
My sense is this study captures really what is going on. Gay men are being discriminated against versus their heterosexual counterparts, and lesbian women.
Why do you roll your eyes at me when he says that?
And lesbians are getting a bump because of the more masculinity in their sex compared to their peers. So I think this study probably gets it right. And one other thing that I think is interesting, the old adage of the glass ceiling being 75 cents on the dollar, most recent reports say you're up to 82 cents on the dollar. So congratulations.
Watch out, to the dollar store I go.
Yes.
Next, let's queer up hotspots. Scott Hollands, what's hot this week in South Florida? So every week, our partners over at Hotspots magazine release Scott Holland's What's Hot This Week, featuring all of the top events in South Florida. So let's get started. Saturday, August 7th, SCORE celebrates 23 years of fun. Also on Saturday, Daddy Urson presents his famous New York City gear party, RAM, at the Eagle Wilton Manors. The pub in Wilton Manors will also have a show by America's Got Talent, delighted to be here on Saturday. On Monday, the South Florida community comes together at Lips to raise funds for Velvet Lenore as she goes to compete at Miss Florida at Large 2021. Make sure to pick up the newest issue of Hotspots on stands Thursday for complete information on these and many more events throughout South Florida.
Busy couple of days coming up, and I think that these are great examples of how busy our community stays.
Yeah, exciting times for us. I'm glad we're getting to some normalcy. We do have some conflicting conversation with what is going on in Delta. So let me be another voice to echo, get vaccinated.
Mm-hmm. And Lenore will be there for your fundraising for sure. You're gonna kick some butt, girlfriend. We love you.
Now we queer up politics. There are more transgender elected officials than LGBTQ Republican officials, says a report. Last week, Queer News Tonight reported on the rising number of elected LGBTQ+ officials in the US, as reported by the LGBTQ Victory Institute. Tonight, we discuss some of the specifics within our community in these newly elected positions. The report found that LGBTQ elected officials are significantly more racially and ethnically diverse than the overall elected official population, but still remain less diverse than the US population at large. LGBTQ people are serving in political office in 49 of 50 states, with only Mississippi lacking LGBTQ representation at any level of government. 23 of 50 states have out transgender office holders, and 29 states have non-cisgender elected officials serving in some capacity. Out LGBTQ elected officials are overwhelmingly Democratic, with 84% or 721 in total identifying as Democrats. By comparison, only 26 out Republicans are officially currently serving, constituting 3% of all LGBTQ elected officials. A similar number of officials, 26, were elected as independents. That means that there are more out transgender elected officials than out LGBTQ Republicans officials out LGBTQ independent officials.
Wow. Mississippi won't even hire a gay crossing guard.
Apparently.
And they're dead last in vaccinations.
Yes.
So maybe there's some kind of correlation here.
And I think 47th in education quality, and we could continue and continue and continue. There's a thread through all of this. You know, one of the interesting things about this report is 84% identify as Democratic, 3% identify as Republican. We reported at Queer News Tonight a pretty sizable number of LGBT voted for Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. I wonder, since the first week in November, if that number hasn't changed a lot, that there's a lot of buyer's remorse of people in our community that came out and voted for Donald Trump. We watched what he did for the next 2 months, then we watched January 6th. We've watched the ridiculousness of what is happening in the Senate and in the House, and I am not surprised at all in the reflection of this number of 3% identifying for Republicans. I'm hopeful. I have the EBGBs, as they're called, for the fall of 2022 in terms of what's going to happen in the midterms. But it is not too early to start thinking about the midterms. And I just remind everybody in Florida, this weekend at the Miami Downtown Hilton is the LGBTQ Democratic Caucus. Orlando, of course, is participating for SAVE, and many organizations, major governor candidates, the Senate candidate, other office holders in Florida. The midterms are going to be very, very important to our rights, to our trans community, and their rights, to what's going on in school boards. It's a very, very important issue for all of us.
I don't get LGBTQ Republicans. I mean, I think that I could understand in the past, but I think with the alignment with the party and the former president, I think that that's really hard to swallow. And so I hope that the party has a sea change in the next couple of years and quickly, because I do appreciate dissent. I appreciate differing opinions. However, the former president's leadership in the party is no go for me.
You're absolutely right about that, because a few years ago, it was probably easier to have a conversation with LGBTQ Republicans about these issues. But I think that Donald Trump changed that. I think that that was one of the reasons why we saw one of the greatest supporters in Congress, Ileana Rose-Lehtinen, decide not to run for re-election. I think she didn't want to be a part of that. And I think that we also need to acknowledge that there are gay, lesbian, bisexual Republicans who are still aligned with Donald Trump, that in every other way, they think the same.
It's funny. One last thought to this, and we'll move on. But my friends that identify that way, and I have them, almost universally are supportive of the Donald Trump wing because of money. It is not ideology. It's not a Ronald Reagan Republican. It's not a George Bush Senior Republican. It's not even a George Bush Republican, much less a John McCain Republican. It is a extraneous point of view because they believe that their money was better off with Donald Trump. And so they're voting for their selfish issues as opposed to collective community need. That's what's going on.
Let's queer up religion. Joe Biden appoints out lesbian rabbi to lead Religion's Freedom Commission. President Joe Biden has nominated out lesbian rabbi Sharon Kleinbaum to serve on the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom. Kleinbaum is the chief rabbi of the congregation Beit Simchat Torah, an LGBT plus synagogue in New York, which counts Sex and the City's Cynthia Nixon among its many thousands of members. She'll bring crucial LGBT plus representation as the commissioner of the independent body which evaluates the state of religion freedom around the world and reports them to the president and Congress. Kleinbaum's key appointment to the commission shifts the balance to 3 conservative appointees and 5 liberal appointees. You guys.
This is really great. I firmly believe that the LGBT movement over the next 5 to 10 years will have to grapple with religious freedom. It is the central piece in which is holding back our ability to pass the Equality Act, is religious exemptions and religious freedom. It's time for us to reconcile 2 very American things, which is the separation between church and state, and also how we celebrate freedom of religion. We obviously think that it's a core of who we are, but we also believe separation is necessary.
It's an interesting point in time because we have Joe Biden as a president, and he's very outspoken about his
own religion,
his Catholic faith, and the fact that we are trying to gain grounds with the church, with the Catholic Church particularly, and his activism, and also how he's being opposed, the abortion fighters, trying to excommunicate him in the church. So it's an interesting time that this is happening while Joe Biden is the president and he's so out front with his religious.
It's a great appointment. It really is. And this rabbi, honestly, she's a badass. Like, she is just an outspoken, out there lesbian that's going to represent us to the fullest degree. And she's a fierce representation and also protector of our freedoms and our rights.
Absolutely.
So this appointment was a fantastic plus.
She just last October, she was attacked by the conservative right because she serves on the board of the New Israel Fund, which is a progressive organization. They raise money to send to Israel to try and make change there, social change, including giving gays and lesbians the right to marry in the state of Israel. Right now, we do not have that right in Israel. We can only be married in civil ceremonies because the Orthodox rabbis who run the nation of Israel, the state of Israel, they don't recognize. In fact, I was reading a story, it's not just us, but if you're not fully Jewish, according to the state of Israel, you can't be married there either.
Really?
And people have to go to nearby countries in order to have civil marriages, which then are recognized in Israel. So our marriages are recognized there, but they're not performed there.
I think the appointment also is really good. I applaud the president. We have watched, we're in the first 7 months of this new administration, and we've already seen more action in terms of affirmative appointment for LGBT than ever in history. And at every opportunity when we see this, we should continue to applaud the president, the vice president, and the White House for the moves and support that they give our community. Simple as that.
Next, let's queer up trans rights. Buck Angel and other trans men launch an attack on trans women. Can transgender people be transphobic? They most certainly can, according to Trans Express, a blog edited by Jack Malay, a transgender activist in Norway. Malay writes in Trans Express that on their life journeys, many trans people go through periods where internalized transphobia causes shame, guilt, and confusion. But what is not understandable is when trans activists start using anti-trans talking points against other trans people in attempts to distance themselves from other parts of the transgender community. According to Malay, that's exactly what transgender activist and porn star Buck Angel and his friends have done in their Trans Men Fight Back letter, which was recently posted over at Gender Dysphoria Alliance Canada. The letter, Malay writes, is a list of anti-trans talking points, which could have all been copied from any TERF, trans exclusionary radical feminist website, out there. The whole point seems to be to distance straight trans men, like themselves, from lesbian and bisexual transgender women. Like TERFs and right-wing extremists, they use the transphobic and debunked autogynephilia theory of Ray Blanchard, presenting transgender women as deceitful sexual perverts. They misgender trans women. They support conversion therapy for trans kids and adults. They use the LGB acronym instead of LGBT, a trick normally used by transphobic gay and lesbian people. Malay asked readers to make note of the names Aaron Kimberly, Scott Nugent, Buck Angel, Ken Peary, and Aaron Terrell. Malay writes, these trans men are now actively harming the lives of other transgender people. They do not speak for the trans masculine community, they do not represent the FTM community, and they have little to zero support in the transgender community. Other trans activists are actively fighting back against this betrayal.
This story made me so sad, just to think about just that hate within our own community, right? These are our own people under the LGBTQ plus umbrella hating each other, you know? And I was a little confused by the story, I've got to say. I was telling Dino before the show. And so then I called my sister from another mister who is a trans woman and told her about the story, and she was appalled by the whole thing. You know Shay, of course, you know? And she's like, okay, well, this person is basically saying that I'm a man who's sexually attracted and turned on by the idea of seeing myself as a woman. And that is far from the truth.
I totally agree with you. You know, I don't like inter-movement fighting or inter-community fighting. It does nothing to support us at all. I think that the people who are stating these opinions and you know, just thinking about them, I think that they are contrarians by habit. Number one, I think that this is a way for them to be able to get a little bit of news time, right? To be able to get some attention. But I really do believe that they are doing a disservice to us in the greater, you know, end. And so shame on them, big time.
I am shocked. This is, to me, looks like misogyny, you know, the trans male against the trans female in our community. Mm-hmm. And actually, I'm not surprised. Buck Angel has been controversial ever since a few years ago when he came out. He made a documentary, actually, that we show at the film festival. And ever since, I mean, his role in the community has always been very controversial. And now this is like the cherry on the top of the punch.
Sure. I mean, it does seem like a publicity grab. And it also struck me that I didn't hear any experts, you know, offering these opinions. And when I say experts, I mean people who are medically trained, who practice psychology, psychiatry, medicine. And these were just all people talking. And who are they? And what training do they have? And, that's their opinion. It's their opinion.
Yeah, what studies have been made or anything like that? None of that.
But where do they get their information?
Yeah.
Great point. I mean, they're promoting conversion therapy, which we all know is very harmful, and medical associations have all said that this is some of the most, hurtful things that anybody can experience, and they're promoting it. So again, they're not medically trained for that opinion.
Well, I think we get right at it in terms of self-shaming. We just had the conversation about LGBTQ community that are supporting the Trump movement. I'm not talking Republicans in general, but the Trump movement. It is the same kind of thing that we are seeing here. They're rejecting for very specific and special reasons. We, over the last 2 years, have talked about #walkaway. We've talked about log cabin Republicans. We do stories like this, and we continue to express our shock that this exists. And sometimes I think the simplest answer is my friend Power Infinity. He coined a phrase in the election in 2016 of what happened in that election. And he said, well, there's always going to be roaches for raid. And I think the simplest answers sometimes can be the right ones.
Love you, Power. That is our queer headlines for today. So let's catch up on the LGBTQ plus news surrounding COVID-19 with our special segment called Quarantine Quickies.
Queer News Tonight has reported on coronavirus on every news broadcast since January 6, 2020.
Tonight, we report that as of today, more than 2,504,000 LGBTQ plus Americans have contracted COVID-19.
Queer News Tonight remembers the more than 44,000 LGBTQ plus Americans who have died from coronavirus.
But the news is improving because as of today, more than 346 million vaccine doses have been administered in the United States.
So get vaccinated. That's our pandemic news for tonight. Next, we'll report on our partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine in supporting that partnership.
Happening Out Television Network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ plus religious live broadcast in the world, as more than 30,000 watch every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Watch this.
My name is Jasmine Price Lords, Florida Mother of the House of Lords, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Next up, we thank Queer News Tonight's sponsor, Best Western I-95 Fort Lauderdale. This is the closest and best choice to the famous Wilton Drive, and our hosts and guests stay at this LGBTQ plus ally partner. We encourage you to stay here when visiting South Florida.
Finally, Queer News Tonight supports our South Florida nonprofit LGBTQ plus health providers. An outstanding example is Care Resource.
If you need care, Care Resource can help regardless of your health needs, immigration status, religious beliefs, gender, age, if you're insured or uninsured.
Care Resource provides a wide variety of LGBTQ plus services, including medical care, behavioral health, dental care, testing and prevention, transgender care, PrEP, Food for Life Network, and more. At Care Resource, they care for all who need quality healthcare service.
Well, now we finish tonight's Queer News headlines with what we call LGBTQ Flash News. LGBTQ Flash News. Lollapalooza cancels DaBaby's performance after homophobic comments. The Lollapalooza Music Festival canceled the rapper's performance on Sunday after his comments that were widely condemned as homophobic. At the Rolling Loud Music Festival here in Miami on July 25th, DaBaby made false and insulting comments about gay men and HIV. He also spoke crudely about women. Elton John, Madonna, and Dua Lipa were among the names speaking out to condemn the comments. Rappers Young Thug and J Herbo will take DaBaby's spots at the festival, Lollapalooza announced. The festival tweeted that it was, quote, founded on diversity, inclusivity, respect, and love, and that DaBaby's performance was canceled with that in mind, end quote.
I'm glad that Lollapalooza canceled DaBaby's performance, but they probably saved him from getting COVID at that super spreader event.
Absolutely. Lollapalooza did the right thing by canceling him out, but I have questions about that incredible density. I mean, the photos are shocking.
You know, I just think that DaBaby was a missed opportunity for him, because when he came out shirtless in those white translucent pants, I thought he was trying to cultivate a gay audience.
You see, this is why Lil Nas X is so relevant right now.
Absolutely.
And this is what's triggering his behavior. So we are delighted. Keep on doing it, Lil Nas X.
It's interesting to me when you see people that protest in this way. I'm immediately, continually reminded, you wonder if they don't protest a little too much.
LGBTQ plus flash news. Here are the silliest reactions to the House of Gucci trailer. It's been just a few days since the House of Gucci trailer dropped, and it's all anyone can talk about. Well, talk might be the wrong word. It's all anyone can meme about, in point of fact. The star-studded trailer featured unmissable camp moments from our queen, Lady Gaga, and these moments needed to be commemorated in meme form. It's the least we peons can do to show House of Gucci our respect.
Well, I love me some Gaga, and she's so gangster, just in those little snippets of a trailer. This is going to be a great show.
Oh, yeah.
It's just another streaming program I won't have time to watch.
She is so Real Housewife of New Jersey. Just so.
Steve, there's 2:30 to 3:30 a.m. You can always catch up then.
My reaction to the Gucci trailer.
Right.
LGBTQ plus flash news. Jack Whitehall and Dwayne Johnson reflect on gay Jungle Cruise moment. Watch this.
We got to talk about McGregor being gay. Did they tell you that right off the bat? Did you read it, reading the script going, oh, McGregor's gay?
When I first read the script, there was only like a couple of sides. So yeah, there wasn't kind of any indication of that. It was like quite a long casting process. And
McGregor never says he's gay though. Why not?
I don't know. I think you might have to ask Michael Green that question. But I think there's a very, a significant scene in the movie, and hope that it's a scene that kind of audiences enjoy, and I feel like I certainly felt at the time like I was sort of kind of proud of the work that we'd done.
And let me tell you, it'll mean a lot to kids. LGBTQ kids, it'll mean a lot to them.
Yeah, I hope so.
Disney's newest adventure comedy, Jungle Cruise, is officially out in theaters and on Disney+. And although the classic Disneyland ride that is based on has been entertaining for people for decades, the film is treating fans to something new that they've been waiting for a long time: LGBTQ+ representation. In one scene, Dwayne Johnson and Jack Whitehall's characters discuss lost love, and Whitehall's character mentions he was once engaged to a woman, but his interests lied elsewhere. It's a small step, but it's a representation all the same.
It is one very small step, and I think I felt uncomfortable watching that interview. I mean, this is movie making of 50, 60, 70 years ago. It's code.
Mm-hmm.
That is a cruise that I'll like to be on, actually, with Jack Whitehall.
Yes, he is cute, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's funny because I've already done this cruise. I went to Orlando and did the Gay Jungle Cruise. It's called Gay Days.
The queerness is alluded to in a beautiful spotlight way. I think it was cute and a big thing for Disney.
Disney's always on the fringe, right? It's always just about there, but they don't take the full step. So hey, one day they will.
LGBTQ plus flash news. Flaming gay star Raven Saunders wins silver medal in shot put. It's hard to imagine Tokyo Olympic Games than American shot putter Raven Saunders. She of the multicolored hair, the Joker and Hulk face mask, and the celebratory twerking. It all added up to a silver medal on Sunday. Saunders, who is out and proud as a member of the Team LGBTQ, won the silver medal with a toss of 19.79 meters, 64.9 feet. World champion Gong Li Shao of China took the gold, and New Zealand's Valerie Adams the bronze. Watch this.
It was weird because you're not supposed to mix silver and gold, but but I do it. I love the fact that I'm still able to add to the medal count to be able to make so many people back at home in Charleston, South Carolina, proud. People all around the world proud. People in the LGBTQ community proud. People that are struggling with mental health awareness proud. So I'm just looking happy to inspire and motivate so many other people all around the world.
Well, my friend Faye, there's no stereotypes there at all, and I loved every single second of it. Loved it.
The thought that this beautiful Olympic winner was minutes away from taking her own life years ago is simply astonishing.
Yes.
She is a ray of sunshine. I really love her boldness, her sort of, she comes out with her costumes, her colored hair. It really is inspiring.
She is everything that Jungle Cruise is not.
Steve is just festering over Disney, isn't he?
She is amazing, and she's fearless, and she's been actually in trouble for, making some
the X sign,
sign, and the Olympic Committee is trying to find a way to respond to her, but good for her. Keep on doing it.
Her. Yeah.
LGBTQ plus flash news. Anti-LGBT plus street preacher gets drenched in milk after refusing to stop homophobic rant. An anti-LGBT plus street preacher got a face full of milk after his offensive rant angered a crowd of people in Hull, England. Video footage shared with Hull Live shows a man addressing passersby while standing on a bench in the city's Queen Victoria Square on Friday afternoon. A group of young people gather around him and attempt to drown out his speech, which reportedly targeted the LGBTQ plus community. As he stubbornly continued his rant, one witness said he saw some members of the crowd head into a nearby shop to purchase milk and eggs. After this, the group appears to give him 5 seconds to stop his preaching before one person steps forward and drenches him with a 2-pint bottle of milk. There were also reports of eggs being thrown at the man.
This is deja vu of Anita Bryant for the current time.
The pie in the face.
Yeah.
I can't criticize these people for doing that because I can't tell you the number of times that I have thrown 2 quarts of milk and eggs at Faye's head. I just can't even tell you.
I would pray for them and keep it moving. There is no way that I would waste my oat milk on that person. I'm sorry.
Well, and I would say ditch the milk and eggs. It's time for mud pie in these instances.
So that is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing. Ring the bell for updates. Share this news with your friends and family.
Post this
broadcast
in the many groups you are a member of. Tonight's stories are about our community. Deserve the attention of your family and friends.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television news in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
And by the way, Steve, Disney, I hear from our executive producer, is on the phone right
the sponsors.
now. They want to talk to you.
Yes,
right
they want to
after
sponsor this newscast.
If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. And that is the passion of Happening Out Television Network and Queer News Tonight. I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Faye Watt, Orlando Gonzales, Dino Mosquera, and Steve Rothaus. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire